Hey y'all, it's Naja coming in from Texas. I want to give you an update on my journey so far with Virta. So, if you haven't checked out my prior video where I discussed starting my journey with Virta, Virta is a program. Initially, it appears it was designed for people with type 2 diabetes, trying to also lose weight and manage insulin resistance over time. And here recently, my company and my health insurance company reached out and said, we're opening it up to anyone who just is technically obese or overweight based on their BMI. So I decided to give it a try. Now, Virta promotes a low carb lifestyle, so a keto lifestyle. And if you didn't know, I am vegan. So I just want to give you all an update on my journey. So we again are about a little over 2 weeks into the program, and things are going really well. So from a biomarker perspective, my ketones have been around 1.1, 1.2 as an average. Now that I'm getting more, I guess, used to it, or body getting used to it, I don't know. My ketones are going up to like 1.5, but they haven't been anything more than 1.8. So I check those every day. So every morning I get up and I prick my finger, and just like I would do a glucose monitoring, I do like ketones. I weigh in every day, right at the same time. I weigh in on their scale, the Virta provided scale, and it just gives the weight. And then I have my living scale right next to it, and I weigh in on that, which also gives the fat, the water, and the bone. I've lost 5 pounds so far. So now my coach seems like overly excited, like, oh, share what you're doing. I guess I'm hitting that 0. What is it? The average of healthy weight loss. Like I'm hitting it. I'm at like the 2 pounds a week or a little bit more. I still kind of think it's water weight. You know what I mean? I'm not tripping. I know that I was eating in a way that my body was holding on to weight that was above my weight set point. Like I already knew that. I already knew I was tripping when I started this program. So, right before I started this program. So, I guess I'm not too phased. I'm like, yeah. I've been here before, right? Let's get down to some of these lower numbers that I've been trying to hit by doing other types of lifestyle changes, which again, I've done prior videos on, so definitely check those out. But I want to say that actually doing some of those, especially how to lose weight for the last time, actually is helping during this process. I kind of mentioned before in my prior video, some of the mind work you need to do, and even some of the foods on the protocol are kind of similar. She doesn't recommend keto, vegan, whatever. She doesn't recommend anything, just eat, within parameters. But she does recommend cutting back on like pastas and flours and stuff like that. So it's kind of still, like, it's easy to adapt into it. So what's not been all that easy is being vegan on this lifestyle. And that's okay. I'm working through it, and right now my goals are no more than 30 grams of carbs a day and 91 grams of protein a day. There is no other goal or anything else to be mindful of. Of course, try to go for full fat items. But if you're not aware, the vegan equivalent to some items, especially like full fat dairy items, have more carbs, like yogurts, sour creams, so cheeses. So that's been interesting. I don't track my food in any type of app that's going to give me, period, right? But that's because it gives me the calories, it gives me all the other stuff that I don't want to see. Because for me, mentally, it's not healthy. Whether it's, oh my gosh, I only eat 1,000 calories when I'm not hungry, I will start digging into that. If I oh my gosh, I ate 1,600 and it's 100 calories, but I'm losing weight, that won't matter. I'll start digging into it. I can't see calories. That's not really helpful for me. But how to lose weight for the last time, she talks about journaling and writing down what you ate and trying not to get into the specifics of it. So I did that initially. I've been doing that the whole time, but I did that initially, and I would initially start to write down the carbs that I thought I was eating, you know, like rough estimates, like, oh, this is a half a cup of celery and a cup full of cucumbers. Roundabout is probably X number of carbs, because I am using more meat substitutes. Meat substitutes definitely have more carbs than just a slab of meat. So I have to be more mindful, but I'm not obsessing over it. So again, how to lose weight for the last time, I just did that, and I found something that made sense. I looked at Virta to say, okay, these are the lowest of carbs options. Listening to my body that says, make sure you still get creams, make sure you still get some probiotics, and just rinse and repeat. I've said it, I don't know how many times. I don't mind eating leftovers. I don't mind eating the same thing for breakfast 3, 4, 5 days a week. Makes it easier for me. I just go in, I'm starting to get hungry. I'm 3, 4 on the hunger scale. Again, how to lose weight for the last time gave me that. And then I just go eat. No problem. So yeah, so my coach asked, like, hey, do you mind sharing what you eat in a day? And I shared it with her. I did put it in the app, actually, because I was concerned about my sodium. Now, one of the things you have to consider is like low blood pressure, you know, heart palpitations, things like that, because if you don't eat as many carbs as your body's used to, your sodium is actually too low, so they actually encourage you to increase your sodium, which is a little different. For me, I've always had normal blood pressure, slightly like the lower scale of normal. It's always been that way. It's never been a concern. I've had quote-unquote heart palpitations before, and mine aren't like, oh my gosh, something's happened. It's like, literally once in a while, just doing nothing, my heart will skip a beat. I've been to the cardiologist probably right before the panini, and they had a full workup. Had the Holter monitor, did the stress test, did the EKG, like the whole thing. He cleared me. If I ever am feeling something, I'll like check something. I'll check it on my Apple Watch, and it's usually nothing. So what we noticed was I'm starting to feel it a little bit more, and I think what contributed to that is initially I got confused. I thought I was supposed to be drinking broth and taking like an electrolyte packet called Element, LMNT. So I think that like put me over, and of course I did that for a couple of days, and my coach was like, whoa, no, what? Choose one. So, oh, okay. And then again, the meat alternatives have more sodium, and even though I wasn't necessarily salting the meat alternatives, that salt was making up for like other things and that didn't have some. So anyway, so I think I'm a little bit more sodium sensitive. I started to check my blood pressure. It was only high in the last couple of days. It was only high for one reading. It was actually low one morning, where Virta gave me like, hey, what's up with that? So the provider, not just my coach, but the provider stepped in to say, hey, I was trying not to use too much of the magnesium they gave because I find it to be constipating. And I made it very clear that constipation is a deal breaker. I will stop a lifestyle change. I will stop a food lifestyle change in a heartbeat if it gives me constipation. I refuse. I'm not going to take, supplements or anything like that, or smooth movement. I'm not going to be doing all that stool softener. I'm not going to do all that. Like, my body naturally, I had to figure out another way because I can't stand the feeling. I just can't. I'm very, very regular. I've been very, very regular pretty much my whole life, especially when I went vegan. So that's not about to change. So they were like, yeah, just, bear with us, maybe split the dosage, and I'm like, okay, well, I know I want to keep the probiotics, so I'm gonna have yogurt every day. And if that means I'm having yogurt every day, I have to account for those carbs. So I've just been mindful in that regard, right? Just listening to my body, and taking their advice, as well as jotting things down so I know what I ate, what I did, so I can make adjustments accordingly. It hasn't been much to adjust, but again, just kind of tuning into your body. So like I said, the provider stepped in and said, hey, you know, what you were saying, your experience, for me, it wasn't the skipping a beat. It was, they call it like an abnormal awareness of your heartbeat, and that's what was happening to me. And it usually was just happening in the evenings when I was laying down. So again, I'm just being more mindful of that extra sodium. Like I'm trying to, before I get to the end of the night, like, do I need a full thing of, you know, broth tonight? Maybe not. Maybe I only need half because I ate X, Y, Z, you know, like had more celery or something like that, right? Or, you know what, life got busy, so I ended up eating 2 like Beyond Meat substitutes, like 1 for lunch or 1 for dinner, right? That has more sodium, so I'm like, okay, maybe I can back that out. Like just tuning in, tapping in, checking my readings throughout the day, my blood pressure readings throughout the day, and then going from there. So that's the only like slight negative. And to be honest, and I journaled this, when they were saying this, I was slightly defeated, like, oh, like, this isn't gonna work. And like immediately cravings came in. Like I would see like candy in the house, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna just eat this candy, forget it. And I'd immediately, like, all in my head, like immediately after would be like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're gonna give this all up? Like this can't work. You know, you just have to figure it out, right? So I was like, okay. Because they were like, hey, here's what to do in an emergency, like go seek immediate help. If not, you might want to get with your PCP. So it's one of those things, like I said, I think I realize that they are there to coach. They're there to advise. It's also my decision on how I move forward with things. And so my decision is I'm going to scale back on the sodium because I feel like I'm getting a lot of sodium, or I'm getting enough sodium. I seem like I'm sodium sensitive. That's what I'm diagnosed with. That's what I get, right? I'm sodium sensitive, so I'm going to scale back unless I start not feeling well. Then maybe we can come in, and I say that as this post-nasal trip it's finally clearing up. But nonetheless, that's how I'm going to approach it. I probably will go see my PCP at the beginning of the year, get some more labs done, and get their approach to it all. But by then, I think I would have enough information to make a good decision. Again, my blood pressure has all been normal since then, so the slight fluttering, heart palpitations, my understanding, like generally within 2 weeks to a month, they tend to go away. Again, I'm just going to listen to my body. So I'm not retaining fluid, I'm not doing anything else. I just have this abnormal awareness at night. You know, and you know, I don't want to dwell too much into it because again, my mind can go there. So all in all, it's been a good experience. My coach has been great. My provider, again, only kind of intervened there once, but was fine. Didn't really seem to have a grasp on like all of my history in terms of what I was taking. It wasn't because he was like, go ahead and take the magnesium if you haven't. Well, I don't know if you can't see the notes on the coach, but I've been taking it. I was taking another one again, and then she reached back out to him and said, hey, this is what she said, and then she came back and said, hey, okay, this is what you should do, stop taking that other one. So again, stop taking it for now. Let's split up the dose and see what it does. This morning it was fine. We'll see how it goes. So holidays approaching up, Christmas is approaching, and I knew this when I started, so I didn't care, but I wanted to give it a good try. So I am curious to see how my Christmas menu turned out. It will, I don't know. I haven't counted the carbs in it. It's all from like the initial list of foods that they were like, oh, that's another thing. So I have my journal, I'm writing in it every day, I'm keeping my biomarkers for my reference, and then I keep their list of printout of their list of foods. It's also in the app. It's also in the recipe book. And then I keep like staples, like a list of staples foods that I want to make sure I always have for reference as well. So if everything is on their list that I want to have, so we shall see. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, it's not impossible, but it does take some planning and some work doing this for a vegan lifestyle. I do see why some people are just like, oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and eat cheese. When you see the protein and the 0 carbs versus your vegan cheese doesn't have the protein and has more carbs, it's like flipped. I see why, but I think it's important to try to strive to stay what I'm committed to, and we'll adjust accordingly, right? That means a little bit more carbs, so be it. I'm not looking for something too fast, right? I don't plan, and that's another thing. I also don't plan on doing this forever, right? I feel like I am looking for something that helps with my lifestyle change and losing weight for the last time. But I unless somebody proves me wrong, I don't think this is something that needs to be on forever, especially when I don't have any other issues. I don't have high blood pressure, I don't have high cholesterol, I don't have diabetes. So this is strictly just for weight loss. So yeah, let's lose the weight, let's change the mindset. It's very helpful and I feel full all the time. Hunger cues look totally different. If anything, I feel hunger in my mouth, and that's usually because, oh, I brought a new snack, or oh, I'm gonna try a new thing, so I'm ready to try. It's not because like I'm actually hungry. Yeah, it's really interesting, and I appreciate that. Like I feel like I'm at a steady state all day, and that there's these little bumps where I'm usually ready to eat. And it's like, okay, go eat, but I'm not like starving for anything. I still kind of get that little, oh, a little sweet, something sweet at night. I just decided to buy those little like sparkling water things, so I just take a couple of sips of that and I'm good. Surprisingly, I am good. So, very optimistic still. We shall see how this goes. Keep you all along for the journey. If you have any questions, any comments, if you tried Virta, especially if you tried it as vegan, leave some comments below. Like, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Of course, there are good and bad things about just keto in general, but I'm curious to know how you all have navigated this situation, have tried to lose weight for the last time, what you've done and what you haven't done. So yeah, share. Don't hold back, share. At any rate, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Ta-ta for now.